It's raining. It has not rained here in a while, so everybody's loving and enjoying the rain, okay? Yesterday was the abolition of slavery here in Mauritius, which is awesome. We were thinking about going to the beach because they had like this celebration, but we ended up not doing that because it was raining a lot, which is fine. Not a complaint. Rain is good, okay? But that's not what this video is about. I want to talk to you today about why we choose Mauritius over America, why we continue to choose Mauritius over America, so that you who are in the States can figure it out. Because I realized, like us, when we left America in 2020, we had never heard of Mauritius. We were like, huh? And the only way we knew about it, I know about now, is because the research that we do, like we're always looking at like digital nomad, entrepreneur visas, just looking at different types of favor that is available all throughout Africa, mostly, also looking at the world just in general, but mostly Africa. And yeah, so we chose Mauritius, and we choose Mauritius, one, because it's visa free for Americans. That's different from a lot of African countries. Two, after being like Africa travelers for years, very experienced now, traveling throughout different regions, understanding the different dynamics. A lot of people make the mistake of just looking at, oh, is a country peaceful? Are there a lot of people there? Is it cute? Does it look good? Is it like, whatever people look for? Is it safe? Is it, is the weather good? Do I like the culture? But I would argue 100% that those aren't the most valuable indicators that you need to look for. The most valuable indicator that you need to look for when seeing what country you want to live in outside of America to actually build a life abroad sustainably, long-term, without hopping back and forth every 3 seconds, the most powerful indicator that you need is actually the visa process, how easy it is to do business in the country. Because it's not helpful in any way if you're going to a country and the process is like, there's no standardization in the process. Like they'll say, oh, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. That's not something you want to play with when you don't want to return to America, unless you're just really like, you don't have children. It's just you, and y'all can just like, you and your husband, you and your wife, and y'all can just hop different places and have fun like that. That's fine. But when you really want to build, when you want to purchase property, when you want to be in these areas, it's critical that you go to a country that has favorable visa processes, favorable residence processes that work. That's not like, oh, this day we'll change it, then the next day it'll change, and the next, no. Don't play with that, because that's the game. It's a money game, which is something people love to do on the continent, okay? The other thing that goes along with that most people don't realize, most countries in Africa allow you to have a 30-day visa, sometimes 60-day, right? There's only a handful of countries that are beyond that, okay? Like, only a handful. I know Tanzania, you can get 90 days as an American, a multiple entry visa, right? That sticks out. That's huge. You can't do that in every country. Most countries in Africa, you can't do that at all, okay? And so you need to be thinking along those terms. You need to be thinking logistically. Mauritius, South Africa, Senegal, Seychelles, not Namibia anymore, Botswana. I think those are like the only 5 now that offer visa-free for Americans on arrival. So really, when you hone down into it and you're looking at, okay, which countries would I be in? Although there's 54 countries in Africa, there's honestly only about 5 countries, maybe 7, that I would even ever live in, to be quite honest. Although there's 54 countries, although it's a diverse continent, that's not to say that I wouldn't visit Morocco, visit Congo, visit Ethiopia, visit these places. But their residence processes are not well documented. When something's not well documented, similar in business, that means that it's not efficient and it's not a streamlined effect that will definitely get done. It may or may not get done. It may or may not get done isn't going to cut it. If you're trying to leave the West for good and you want to live your dream life, you can't live your dream life, sell your house, sell everything you have in America on maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. You want something that's going to work, and work to totality, work fully without any issues, okay? So I wanted to tell y'all that because that's super important. That was number one why we chose Mauritius in particular. But when we look at both Mauritius and America right now, one, the number one thing that pops out to me is safety. This country is so safe, it's not even funny. Like, it's legitimately not even funny. Like, I can just go out into my neighborhood and there's just nothing there. There's no chaos. There's not all these people in the street. There's not any weirdness. There's no robberies going on. And I think if robberies do go on here, maybe they go on in Port Louis, but even that, you don't hear about it in the news. You don't hear about it amongst expat communities. I think the one time I heard something was somebody was like in the forest and some guy was also in the forest and they like stole something from them. I think I heard that one time a few months ago. But other than that, it's like, I've never lived in a safer country, to be quite honest. Mauritius, as of right now, is the safest country that I've ever lived in, which is something that is very, very valuable to me as a mother of multiple children, especially even as an entrepreneur, as a wife, as somebody who's just like wants peace. Safety is huge, especially in these times. Not every place in the world is going to be safe when you have different dynamics, different wars, different things going on. So you really want to be in like a neutral, safe place. Mauritius is so neutral, so safe, okay? That's like huge. When I look at Mauritius and America and the life that we lived in America, number two, the cost of living. And usually when people say cost of living, they're just talking about how affordable it is. I'm not only talking about how affordable, but I'm also talking about the experience that you get for the resources you have. You guys know, and if you don't know yet, you should subscribe to the channel and watch all of our videos. We live in a large property, a villa property, and having a house like this in the States, specifically Ohio, where I'm from, oh, the rent that they have today is going to cost you $3,000, $3,500. And then if you're not in Ohio, you're looking at $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. And, you know, technically in Ohio, you can't even get something like this because Ohio properties are just, you know, it was good when you lived in Ohio, but now that you experience life outside, it's like, oh, you can be living much, much, much better for less, way less. And so that's what makes, that's what makes people, my gosh, that's what makes people look around and think, why am I going to stay in America? Because I know you've seen so many people, both white Americans, black Americans, are looking and they're like, nah, I got to go somewhere else. A lot of European Americans, even black Americans, have been going to Spain, Portugal, because they have a better quality of life. They can live in the village. They can go to the shops. They can, you know, put their children in school, and it's not rush, rush, rush. America's like the only place on earth that has a rush, rush, rush capitalist society. Most other places are a slower pace of life. And we live on an island, so you know island life is definitely slow. When stuff is closed, they not opening back up. You can't order a pizza at 11 p.m. at night, and that's not an issue because we respect people's boundaries and the fact that people just want to live. They don't want to work, right? So I know if we want to order something, you better order it by 6 p.m., 8 p.m. at the latest. That's it. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. You got to be done, right? And that's good because humans need boundaries. Humans need to be able to live life and enjoy their life. You're not created to just work all the time, all day, work. Nobody wants to do that, right? And so that's one of the things that I absolutely love about being here in Mauritius. The next thing, so we have safety, we have ease to do business and to get residence. Safety, when I think about America versus Mauritius, definitely the diversity. I think a lot of people think America's diverse, but it's not. It's really not. Especially if you're living in a suburb, it's not. It's just not. It's not at all. America's view of diversity is very interesting. When I say diversity, I mean like seeing humans of different races, seeing humans of different cultures, I can see Nigerian, South African, Mauritius, I can see Chinese, I see all types of people. There are so many people here. And I was getting my nails done the other day at one of my favorite nail salons, and the lady was speaking to me in Creole because she thought I was Mauritian. But I don't speak Creole. I'm sure, look, so I'm real slowly getting there, okay? But she thought I was Mauritian because Mauritians have such varying looks. It's hard to decide like who's Mauritian and who's not unless they're speaking a different language, right? And so that's something that's really interesting. I just feel like I can really blend in here Not that you can't, obviously in America, everybody knows you're an American, but there's still this thing, and I don't know if it's because the suburbs I lived in, again, I did not live in the inner city in America. I've never lived in the inner city. I lived in a suburban, wealthy neighborhood. And so going throughout that neighborhood, it was just always feeling like, dang, I'm the oddball. I'm the only one that looks like this. I'm the only one. I just feel like the odd person out. So that's, for me, growing up, that always enabled me to be like, I don't want to live in this place. I don't want to live in the country, period. Because on the flip side, it's like if you go somewhere like Atlanta, you go somewhere with more people that look like you. A lot of those places are very ghetto. They have cultures that I don't align with, values that I don't align with. And so that's what prompted us, let's leave America, because the whole thing is messed up from the top to over there to over there. It's just messed up in so many different ways. You just want to be around people that are just regular humans, and it's so hard to find that in America. It didn't used to be. Obviously, when our ancestors were alive, and back in like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, there were much better values. But man, after 2000, I'd probably say after 1990, 1980, stuff was like, it just started to get bad. It started to get bad, from what I hear, because I was born in the mid-90s, not the 80s. But yeah, so that's why I continue to choose Mauritius over America, and will choose it every time. I was actually looking at like some of the developments happening in my old hometown, Columbus, Ohio, because I was just curious, and I was just like, man, I would still never even ever live there again. I would definitely like network on LinkedIn and connect with people and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, this is what I do. Right now I'm in Mauritius. I would network in that way on LinkedIn, but that's like the closest that I would get to being in Ohio again. I'm just going on LinkedIn to network with people, because it just looks like, I was looking at a few suburbs. There's like suburbs like Worthington, Dublin, the suburb I'm from, Bexley. There's other ones, and they just all look like these like European suburbs. Like they make you feel like you're in like Great Britain, some of these suburban areas, because the build and the way that they do things, versus out here, I can show you, it's raining. You're not gonna see it real well though. Out here the houses look so different, okay? Like everything, like they're building right there. I don't know if you can see those guys building, but everything looks so different and so creative. So it's the ingenuity here, it's the creativity, it's the liveliness. There's just something alive about this place. I know we go to this store, we like to walk to our favorite store, and we took a back road this one day, and we saw like this whole like alleyway of all these like local stores and like small mom and pop shops, and it was like, oh, we didn't even know this was back here. Got my fresh pina colada, just got some more island vibes, got some more they'll have like little Mauritius tokens, little stuff like that, little like woven baskets, all kinds of just fun things that remind you that you're in an exotic paradise. And so hopefully this video was helpful and beneficial to you if you've been thinking about living in an exotic paradise. I think the next video I'll discuss why we chose Mauritius over Seychelles, because Seychelles was also a country that we were looking at. So I'll see you in the next video. Shalom, shalom.